faced in those first 3 games, Duquesne, Central Michigan, then West Virginia, kind of more of a running team. But how do you feel like your corners did last week against probably some of the best receivers they've seen all year to this point?
Yeah, well, I love being able to watch those guys play, and the one thing about it, as you watch throughout the entirety of the game, they challenge those guys, they play physical with those guys. I thought they played really good technique. Obviously, we gave a 1 pass, which I wish I could definitely take back, which was Shaw's TD pass, but long story short, throughout the whole game, I thought they played well.
You've got a lot of guys playing a lot of snaps too, especially these last 2 games. Have you seen secondary kind of hold up with that workload?
I'm sorry, you're talking about really more play load?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, guys, one thing about it, obviously we've had some injuries throughout the time. I think they've been going with a next man mentality. So the next guy that's been going in has been ready to rock and roll. And you haven't seen any drop off within that department. And the one thing about it is, again, they all push each other within a group, helping each other through practice as well as the games. And I think they've been responding good, going through the play load.
I think Pat said last Thursday that you guys wanted to rotate a little bit more on defense going in this year. Maybe he's talking about the linebackers, defensive line, whatever. But have those injuries kind of limited how much you're able to rotate?
Yes and no, because those guys are in there. The ones that were going to be able to rotate, they've been able to get their opportunity to get in a little bit more than I anticipated them at an earlier stage. With that being said, I think they've responded really well. Like I say, Sean Lee had 97 plays, West Virginia game. Those things like that I see before the season, not that many snaps for a freshman. But I tell you what, he's been playing dynamic, and it's good for him to have that opportunity.
What do you think's allowed Sean to just go in there and just play well? How pleased have you been overall with him so far?
Well, luckily we were able to get him in the spring, and then the one thing about him is that he's a very, very coachable guy. He's going to do exactly what he's coached to do, and he over-defines those things. And what he does that's special is that he's always working after practice, and he does work out with some of the older guys, on his own in his free time, so they're teaching him different techniques, and he's learning at a rapid pace. And the one good thing about it, those techniques are showing in the game.
Coming off the spring that Shadarian Harrison had, is he living up to expectation in the season?
Yeah, I think that right now, again, he's a little bit forced to get even more reps right now, and I'm loving his development. And it's a tough position for us, being on the outside, at corner as well as DB, just in itself. With that being said, we're on an island, and he enjoys being on an island. And I think as the season progresses, we're going to watch him make more plays and more plays and more plays, because now he's getting those valuable reps to be able to understand the teaching in the classroom, coming to the field. I'm excited to continue to watch him grow because those plays are going to come.
Rashad comes back from injury after missing 2 games. He's wearing the cast. How may or may not does that impact him, playing at that position with wearing that cast?
Well, he's a warrior, and he doesn't want to come out of the game at all. He doesn't want to be missing practice. He doesn't want to miss any games. Kudos for him. With that being said, obviously he did have that missed interception on that side, but at the end of the day, I think that he challenged himself to be able to, and he knows that he can make that play cast or castless. You know what I mean? So I think that, challenges him, but we also got to understand you got to still stay within your technique. You got to still be able to utilize that hand that's injured, and make the best of it. Now, I wanted him to tip that down, but, he felt as though he can get it, and I want to always encourage guys to go ahead and make a play.
You talked about the touchdown play that he allowed. I mean, just what can he correct there on that play?
Just get out with speed. Do what he normally work on within practice. Within that point of it. It's sudden change of opportunity. So situationally, just being a little more aware in that instance. But long story short, just work what we work at practice, period.
Well, a lot of the other positions or people in the secondary have been dealing with injuries. Cruz Brookins has been very solid and consistent there. How beneficial is it to have him at least staying while the other guys have been dealing with injuries?
Cruz Brookins, you're saying?
Yeah.
Been very beneficial because he's a dog. He's going out there trying to hurt people. He plays that mentality, and he raises people up. And you talk about Cruz Brookins. I mean, he's a guy that everybody around him lifts him up. He doesn't talk a lot, but his energy is what's expected of him. And I think all the players around him love to expect his energy. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's been wonderful having him as a steady person in there. And I think that with him, just having had all those guys be able to play for one that we had in the spring, be all out there together at one time. With that being said, those guys have been working through those issues.
What kind of challenges do you see Boston College presenting your guys in the secondary?
Well, I tell you what, Boston College got a very good coach there. You know, with that being said, they do a lot of NFL-style route concepts, and they'll put us in situations in which we'll have fun being able to make checks and watching guys be able to make plays. But they'll try to hit. You know, they got a couple various different receivers. You know, they got number 4, big old guy that goes up. You know, very good deep ball judgment on the deep half of the field. Number 11, they love him. You know, he's a guy in which that they're trying to figure out how to get the ball to, keep him in crowds, get him in outside of crowds, singled out. You know, so it'd be very fun to be able to go against them just because of the nature of their offense, which is the NFL rock concept team.
I mean, they lead the ACC in passing yards per game, 4th in the nation. I mean, is it volume? They just throwing a million times, or how are they getting all their yards through the air?
Well, they're throwing a lot more than they have in the past. However, they've been efficient. The quarterback's done a really good job with them getting the ball out of his hands, and understanding those rock concepts that are, that their offense runs. You know, so I think they're doing a really good job just having an efficient quarterback, and they're playing well within each other.
You said they're throwing it more than the pass. I mean, you think of Boston College, you think of
That's right.
Garwo and A.J. Dillon and all these
That's
different
right.
running backs. Is it a totally new look this year, totally different kind of offense?
I think it's still similar to what they did last year. It's just obviously they got different personnel groupings. They got different people that were playing outside that they had last year. With that being said, I think that they've been doing a good job coaching these guys to be able to understand the schematics for what it takes to those guys to get open. You know, so it is not the old school Boston College, as you know, where they're just going to try to run it down your throat all the way. With that being said, I think they're utilizing the people that they have now.
Anything else?